Welcome to Virtually Mic'd. I want to acknowledge that we are hosting this event on Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people, and we are grateful to be here. When I was in my teens, there were a few musicians and a few bands that really could explain how I was feeling in certain moments, and Big Wreck was most certainly one of them for myself, and I can just imagine for all of you watching. So without further ado, I'm absolutely thrilled to introduce to you the interview that I had with Donald Forrest Williams, the drummer from Big Wreck. Donald, take it away. Okay. Well, first, I want to thank you, Donald Forrest Williams, for being part of Virtually Mic'd. It's very awesome to have you as part. I just want to thank you. It's a pleasure. So I guess I wanted to ask you a few questions. The first question is, becoming a professional musician and performer takes a lot of steps. It isn't just about the music, it's advertising and all that, as I'm sure you know. What can you tell musicians and performers to not care so much about during their journey of becoming a musician? Kind of money-wise, I guess. Where should you put the money?
Well, as a musician, I mean, just like anything, if you want to succeed at it, you have to love it and kind of have it become your life goal. I just loved it so much, and it has to be about the music, especially now in the current environment. Even before COVID, the amount of money that is coming in to musicians and the industry is approximately roughly 1/10 of what it was back in the late 90s when I was doing it for a living.
Wow.
And now, that's because of streaming. When we released our first and second albums, the CD sales were peaking. We were selling 4,000 CDs a week, and ended up selling, I think, very close. I'm pretty sure 1 million of the first record over, its entire lifetime. And that's at $12.99.
Wow.
So now you have streaming, and basically streaming has stripped away most of that revenue. If you liked The Oath, the first song, you'd go on Apple iTunes and buy The Oath for 99 cents and not spend, most people just spend the 99 cents. So before COVID, we were down, to 1/10 of the revenue. It's starting to come back up with streaming. They're starting to get better about making the money come out and get to musicians in the industry, but it's still very low compared to where it used to be. And now, so what basically happens is, if you're a musician, you have to be on the road quite frequently in order to make a living. All the money that comes in that supports your family and your mortgage and your car payment is through touring.
Right.
So if you can't, if you're not interested in being away from home long periods of time constantly, then I wouldn't choose being a musician as a goal for a life, a career. And now, so with that, streaming, and then most dollars coming from touring, which is why they've added, extra perks, like they're charging for VIP passes for backstage. We never had that back
Exactly.
And so right now the music industry is hurting more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know,
Yeah,
I,
and I find we're working more than ever during this time. You know, like trying to um, show ourselves. You know, trying playing and doing all of these live for free, putting it on social media and everything for free, just to almost get noticed in that sort of way, spreading the love, I guess.
right. And these days, being online and having a social media presence, having your songs on YouTube, having a Facebook page, having a website, being on all the streaming platforms and doing all that digital is really where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great in a way. It has been a huge benefit to me personally because I can now release my own music. I can release other people's music that I'm working with on my own with no record label for minimal cost. Get on all the streaming platforms. Get on YouTube. Create a Facebook page. Create a YouTube a website and do everything that a record company could do except bribe radio stations that don't exist anymore.
Right.
You can do all that yourself, but now, because of that, it's really opened it up to everyone. Now you have even more competition.
Mm-hmm.
You before you get your goal was to get on a major label, and then you were on your way. Now you have millions of other people that can just make music in their bedrooms for $0 and make great music.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's great that it's kind of, and for me, it's perfect because I do not want to tour at all. I want to be home with my family.
I don't blame you there.
I
I don't. Yes, I've got 2 boys, and I totally get ya.
Yeah, I have twin boys. They are 16.
Oh, twin boys!
Yeah, they're wonderful. They're so good. I love them so much, and one of them is doing music, and he's doing it. He's got an Instagram, and he's hooking up with people online and doing it that way. So it's really cool. But yeah, I don't want to tour whatsoever. I didn't really like it when I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I got out of music is because I didn't want to tour anymore.
Yeah.
At the end of 2003, Big Rec had their last tour, and in 2004, a year later, my boys were born, and there really was I really didn't want to go on tour. Big Rec was pretty much over,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just perfect timing for me to start being a dad and just look into another career.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm on my way to work right now doing that. So
Very good.
it's great for I can help. I do drums at home. The produce music at home.
Yeah. You were starting a channel where you share how to produce music at home. Yeah. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, so I had a job that was very, very difficult for a while. I work in transportation, and I worked for UPS for 11 years.
Congratulations.
And that job was basically 14 hours a day,
Yes.
sometimes 16 hours a day. I basically came home, ate, went to bed,
Mm-hmm.
and didn't have a life. But in the last 4 years, 3 years actually, I got a job that was 8 hours a day, and all of a sudden I had some time on my hands. I started digging out all my music stuff and getting back into it. And I met a local musician that I worked with and produced, and got back into it. And so, and then last year, approximately, I think it was less than a year ago, about December 2019, I started doing YouTube. I put up a website, I got a Facebook page, I got an Instagram account, and just kind of started putting myself
Mm-hmm.
re-emerging to the world, letting people know, like when they searched for me, they would find something and see what I'm doing and know that I was now available to do drums for their songs or produce entire works for them per song. And they could hire me and work with me as a producer, as a drummer, whatever. And the YouTube channel is just kind of behind the scenes of doing that at home.
Oh, yeah.
And it's done in my bedroom. It's all on the computer, and Mike's going through the hallways. You know, a lot of people can relate to that.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, this is set up in my bedroom.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, you know, I wanted to show people an honest, no, like, no, although I have out of control ego, just like anyone in this industry, I'm trying to do it with as little ego as possible, like, just kind of, this is what goes on, like, even the mistakes, you plug in something into the wrong input, and you just can't figure it out, and it's just the silliest thing that you did wrong, and you realize you spent an hour and you just had it plugged into input 2 instead of input 1.
Oh, yes, no kidding. It was like,
power on, you know?
yeah, it was like this morning I was trying to plug in the condensed microphone, and I just was staring at it. Why is this not working? And it was the silliest thing, and I figured it out. But it was just so funny, those little, I mean, I was watching your little introduction, and even seeing, you know, you're looking at the time, it says 5 something in the morning or something like that. I thought it's really funny. It's true and it's honest.
Right. That's what I wanted to show, because I saw that a lot of the stuff I was watching on YouTube was just kind of, they skip all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you just go, here's the mic set up, this is what the snare drum, this is what I put on the bass drum, and now this is what it sounds like, and then we have a song, like 20 minutes, like 10 minutes later on the video, you're like, they're done, and like they just show all the highlights. I wanted to show the real life stuff that happens in between.
Oh yeah, no kidding. And it's true about 5 o'clock in the morning. I mean, like, you spend so much time. I've been noticing getting involved in music. I mean, I've been a musician forever, but now I'm really just trying to, you know, share it, I guess, and making sure other musicians around are being noticed, because it is hard. And I mean, I've noticed I've been up, it's been 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, holy smokes, I gotta go to bed. And the time goes so quickly when you're doing it. It's amazing. I mean, it's so fast, but I think it's just because, you know, as you said, you have to love it. And it calls to you, I find, music does. It calls to you, like, when you need it, right? So, I mean, I appreciate that you're really showing it.
Thank you.
Oh, no, it's a pleasure. Well, I wonder, it was kind of funny, because I had a few other questions about the same thing. As the industry becomes more digital, CDs not selling as well, what are your thoughts on the digital platforms? Like, which ones would you use or not use as a musician? Are they all beneficial? Which ones do you like the best, I guess?
I would use them all, but I met with a manager specifically to find out what I should do, and she told me that Instagram is the most important, and specifically Instagram stories.
Oh, yes. Okay. Good to know. I have noticed it is, and it is funny about Instagram stories. They kind of, as you put a story up, and as soon, you have to do it every day, though. Don't you find?
Yeah, that was one of her instructions. You
Okay.
have to do it every day.
Every day, because as soon as you don't do it, you're down to the bottom again.
Exactly. So it takes a lot of discipline, and the first person that I worked with doing this kind of thing found it impossible to do.
Mm-hmm.
And the Instagram. Previously, she was doing YouTube every day. I said the plan was to do it an episode every single day on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And we completed 365 days. Well, the first artist I worked with that I produced,
my goodness.
That was tough. Made it 1 year. I added an Instagram stories on top of that, and I, and then shortly after that, we kind of went our separate ways, and I don't think she's not really doing anything at this time. I maybe possibly she burnt out.
Oh no, yeah, that would do it.
So you can do too much. I mean, perhaps that was too much, and that was the problem. There was too much work being done and too much stress around creating a YouTube episode. Even though the requirement was, even if it's 30 seconds or a minute, just to kind of give an update. The too much information model was being used, and it was just too much to do, too much to think about, and it started taking away from time that was, it took away from creativity and created stress.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's a tough balance to, if there's so much required of you as a musician to do it on your own, it's almost impossible to do it right. So I think you do as much as you can, and I think you make a plan that maybe you'll do one episode a week, not do it every day, or whatever you want to do, one great episode a month, and you do Instagram stories every day, or you just do Instagram stories every day. That would, I think, satisfy the need. Updates, when you put out a song, you put out a lyric video at least on YouTube. You can't just release it to the streaming. You have to put up a video because so much of it is visual on YouTube.
That's true. And I like how you recommended even just like the lyric video of it. So don't just at least getting that up rather than, and then later on you can do the actual video if you want, kind of thing.
Exactly. You need to get everything up at the same time. If you're releasing a song, I guess you don't have to. There's no rule, but at least I would say the most important thing is to have a plan, what you're going to do, and try to make it difficult. See if you can do it. If you can't do it, adjust it. But obviously, you got to have concentrate on creating music, and creating music on a consistent basis should be the priority.
Mm-hmm.
And just releasing music, once a month, or we were doing a song every 2 months with a full production video, not just a lyric video.
Wow.
That turned out to be too much.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Well, we moved it to 3 months. So my mistake in my first, what I learned from my first working with my first artist is that I expected too much.
Yeah.
I pushed a little too hard, and that's why we don't really work anymore. Because I was too tough on it. It's just kind of, I have unreasonably high expectations for myself and other people, and that's something that I work on, and I've learned from my experience, and I don't think I would have done things exactly the same now. But, you learn, and me being out of the industry for, 15 years or so, and working at a place like UPS, where it was basically military, do it or get out, changed, kind of gave me this rough management style that I was applying to music.
Love it.
I'm learning from my mistakes.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, it's good you're learning from them, though.
I try to take it easy on people, and I try to take it easier on myself.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a work in progress.
Oh, yes. Yes, of course. Well, I have one more question, and then I can leave you because I know you're probably very busy today, and I just have to say I'm very thankful that you that you had did this, because I mean, Big Rec was a big part of my life. I mean, I remember going through things, and Blown Wide Open was the one I went to. Blown Wide Open used to just, to this day, I mean, I listen to music, and that one, it's just, even how it ends, it just finishes. I absolutely love that song. So, I guess, the last one is for beginning musicians. What is the best advice you would like to share to be part of the music industry? Just, like, give us just one sentence.
Do not overthink the future. Stay in the present and do it for love.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you so much, Donald Forrest Williams. It was an absolute honor talking to you today. I'm kind of awestruck right now because of how this all came to be. So I wish you a wonderful day, and thank you again.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
just leave the room while I sit and stare. 'Cause this is rare. I really love that tune. Man, I love that song. I really love that song. I love that song. Sound doom, so just leave the room while I sit and stare. 'Cause yeah, that's right, I really love